runs. That's literally how I think. Right, here we go. Coach Helen for YouFit Studio, talking about fight or flight. Quite like this one. The nervous system getting flared as hell. I was going to use a nasty word there, I won't. It's in public and it's before the watershed. Loads of people heard about it, fight or flight. It's like the old flee. I've heard it's flee, fight and flee. It's essentially your physical response. Blue, I like the colour blue suggestion. That's my hair colour for those joining late. The suggestions of what hair colour I should go for to match. Fight or flight. It's a very prehistoric response, of which, fascinatingly, we can't control. It's a bit, I like to say it's a bit like the old knee hammer situation. Our bodies are very, very unique and special. They're very quick to respond to acute fear, if you like, or acute danger. It's like that. Imagine the moment if you, if you remember, you walk in quite casually into the studio, realise that every single coach is off sick apart from Sam and it's leg day. That's a fight or flight situation if ever I've experienced one, because I have. It's just me and Sam. The fear, the eyes, right? And I'll go through what happens and we'll probably use that as an analogy, and it's quite a funny one. And then I'll talk about why it's important actually to be aware of it, because of what we do in modern life. As I said, it's a very prehistoric response. It's very knee-jerk. It's automatic. Can't control it. We can adapt to it. However, it's very difficult to stop a response when it's very strong. Our body mobilises very fast, right? So if it perceives a threat, it's going to mobilise very quickly. Hence the things you understand when you think about having that leg day with Sam, as Pooja's saying online, we would die. Yeah, you'd fear it enough to know, right? It's the fear that starts it. So sympathetic nervous system is one part of the nervous system we have, and it's activated and releases some hormones from the adrenal glands. So like fangle dangle sounding. Essentially, your body goes a bit wappy. Your nervous system says, like Pooja, we gonna die. We gonna die. Move like the wind. Shaman's just joined. Shaman, I was just explaining the fight or flight syndrome. It's a bit like if you turn up at the gym and it's just you and Sam in a session and it's leg day. And you didn't fill out the other day because you forgot. Oh, it's not this day. It's the other day. I just forgot to fill it out. Fear kicks off. So what happens? You have some releases of hormones, right? Adrenaline and noradrenaline gets released, and what does that do? Increases your heart rate. Imagine that. You're like looking at the sun going, oh, I feel my heart's gonna fall out my chest. Whew. Blood pressure starts to skyrocket. Breathing gets a bit heightened, like it's Sam and me. And actually, if you have a real heightened acute response when everyone's got to fight, Sam, let's be honest, fighting's just futile. If you're going to run, yeah, maybe try that one. However, it's quite an extreme response. If it's extreme, if you ever imagine going in to do public speaking, or like clammy hands, like the physical signs you get. Like I made a joke of it, but imagine like Sam, because your pupils dilate. You get, I've seen it. I can literally earmark clients when they come in when I see this response. I can literally see, ooh, look at what's happening there. They either go pale, or yeah, just don't run for the door. Yeah, see, your body wants to run, but to mobilise quickly, to get out before he sees you, Pooja, you have to run like there's a rocket up there, because he will find you. That's what happens. So your pupils dilate, right? So why do your pupils dilate? So you can see an exit to run for, Pooja, if you're trying to run from Sam, right? Why would you mobilise your breathing? Because your blood wants to be running around your body, because you want to get your heart and lungs, they're going like this. Come on, run. You're meant to be running right now. Come on, go, 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 go. Adrenaline, run from the bear, Sam. All right. What helps? The rapid heart rate breathing, same thing. You're sucking in oxygen because your body's telling you get oxygen in to your bloodstream and to your muscles, because your muscles want to be running from Sam. Little do you know, you're just going to have to stay there and deal with it and do your leg day one-on-one, right? Now, the thing is about it is that it can take it's 20 to 60 minutes, right, for your whole system, right, from everything to actually go back to pre thinking about even having that session, right? And it's a massive burst. If it's acute, if it's very sudden, like you're having Sam moment, like you're dropping on a roller coaster, you go, oh, okay, oh, okay. And why does it all do that all at the same time and so quickly, if you've ever experienced it, which I think most of us have? Because it's a great mechanism. Our bodies are, as I said, fantastic machines, and I want to mobilise as fast as possible. Because if you think back to Caveman, he wouldn't have Sam, unfortunately, or fortunately for him. He would have flaming great lines though, or don't do this, T-Rex. Yeah, or big dinosaurs. I don't know what that was. And I was just like, why am I doing this? Big dinosaurs. So if big dinosaurs running towards him, he's not going to go, let me just take some time to have a think about what I'm going to do. I'm just going to breathe deeply, relax, think calm thoughts, and try and have a calm conversation with this giant dinosaur coming towards me with teeth. He's going to be mobilising quickly and getting the frick out of dodge, like he's dressed in a U-fit uniform. Now, why, you may ask, is this important when it comes to health and fitness and weight loss? I've talked about this before. No, that's acute response. What we also have in our modern age is a chronic response to stress. And what we perceive to be our T-Rexes or Sam Honey doing a leg day now can be something on a lower level, however more consistent. So actually what's happening is our sympathetic nervous system is saying, "Ooh, there's a danger afoot." Over there. I can see Sam is coming from a distance, I don't know. But that's not a good analogy, probably. It's more like it's our daily stress at work. So our daily stress at work, or managing family, or managing life, right, creates a very low level activation of this system. However, it's low level and just all the time, and just maybe you get speak and then however it's activated quite consistently. Now, what's the impact of that? Interestingly enough, without getting too techie and into hormones and things like that, there's some real basic stuff that starts to get bothered. Well, bothered is not a word, actually, is a word, it's not relative. Impacted, we'll say that sounds better. So chronic activation over a low level period of time has some impacts physiologically and mentally on the body. I did well there. Hey Joe! It's Mojo Jojo. Joe. So what happens? The body essentially feels like it's always under attack. It feels like it's being constantly asked to do leg day with Sam. Joe's like, what did I miss? Joe, you missed a bit. 12 to 8 minutes. Essentially, the body is always activated, so it feels and thinks that it's always about to need to run, right? So the perceived danger is there, even though it's not actually in the room. So say, for example, you always had to think that, say, every booking you had, it was potentially going to be Sam and a leg day one-on-one, right? That wouldn't be chronic, as in I'm going in there, I had no idea it's happening. It would, however, be enough for you to be constantly a little bit sweaty palmed at the thought of having to come into the studio, right, and having to go through, hey Barry, what's up again? And I'm using this analogy, however, you can take this and apply it to every part of your life where you have a perceived stress. Your body will activate that system as if it's in that moment, because it's getting ready to fight or flight. So you're getting ready to deal with that perceived stressor, or sudden shoot, or to not, right? However, you're falling into thinking it's always going to be there. So what happens? We see, as I said, disruption to how you function. Sleep is always the first mother to go, putting it nicely. Sleep is, by any means, the strongest indicator that you are being activated from stress level. And I remember this. I remember this myself. I remember I was sat in a very similar chair to the one I'm sitting in right now, and I was sitting in the office with Sam, and he said, "You're stressed," and I'm like, "I'm not," because my perception of stress, or this system being activated, was in that high level, sweaty palmed, breathing, kind of like in my head, stress state was like, and he was able to deduce what was happening by asking me some questions. And one of the ones was, how is your sleep? I was like, my sleep's all right. Yeah, I'm sleeping 8 hours a night. And he's like, waking up at all? I was like, yeah, about 3 times. Just go for a pee. Yeah, I seem to pee a lot in the night. I think I drink too much before bed. And he's like, no, my friend, you're stressed. I'm like, no. I mean, this went on, like, I did this last night, like the ping pong, to me, to you, for a number of weeks and months. No, Sam, I just need to cut down my water. I'm drinking too much. It's like, you are in a stress state. You're waking in the middle of the night and going to the toilet. And it took me a long time to concede that he may be right. You know how hard it is to say when Sam is right? It's a bit painful, isn't it? It's like, hairball coming out. Okay, you're right. And what was happening was a very subtle and common stress response where, and I've talked about this before in a previous live, essentially, if you are, I'll use animals in this one because it's easier to explain. It's still for a very low basic level. If a zebra is running from a tiger in a stress state, right? So its heart rate is up, like I talked about. It's got similar symptoms, right? It's sucking in oxygen. It wants to run from the lion. It wants to live, right? What a zebra will do is will poo and pee, right, to make itself lighter to run away. As human beings, we don't have a dissimilar response when it comes to perceived stress. It's just very low level because we probably wouldn't pee through the gym. I really hope to get away from Sam's leg day, or in the office when asked to do a presentation. Well, yeah, we do have other responses sometimes, which I'm going to do live on as well. However, principally, when someone's doing this in the middle of the night, when they're waking up and going for a pee in the middle of their sleep, that isn't a sign that they've drunk too much. It's a sign that their body's saying, you need to run. Very subtly, and usually in the later end of sleep, in the last 2-3 hours, when your brain becomes conscious and your brain starts to register and process and goes, leg day is coming. Run. Oh, I need to pee. Now mine at the time were work-based, actually. Were they? Yeah, they were work-based and financially based as well, actually, at the time. I didn't perceive them as that until I started to really look at my sleep patterns, look at my behaviours, and also becoming a coach and learning more, you go, oh, now that makes so much more sense. Oh, and then test it. Like, I know if I'm now, for example, last 3 nights I've slept through, not woken once. Wasn't actually quite a long time. However, in the middle of lockdown, the first few weeks, I was probably waking 3 times, which I think a lot of people were. But actually, I knew why it was happening. I knew I could put some things in place that already helped me do that, and calm down my system, and then sleep again. Always good, right? So sleep is always the first one, right? Digestion. Oh, you bangers. Digestion. It's a funny old one, that one. When this system flares up, when it's low level, right, it's going on for a long time. But chronic is quite interesting. So if someone has a quick, you know when someone makes a joke going, yeah, shit himself. Not far from the truth for some clients. I have had clients before who've received emails from the boss and immediately run for the toilet as fast as possible. Not really understanding like what's happening. Couldn't link the two things together. Thought they had IBS. It's just a very strong reaction, right? A very strong reaction to a perceived stress. Like, I need to run from this email and empty my bowels. And that's no different to somebody also, interestingly, also what happens if it's low level, you can have 1 or 2. You can have either, well, someone will say, I've got IBS. I've had IBS for lots of years, but actually this is the system just constantly getting triggered. Or also might say I'm constipated, right? Because the reverse happens sometimes. It actually stops digesting food because the body goes, you don't need to do this. There is a lion coming, / Sam Honey for a leg day. Therefore, you don't need to stop for anything. You need to just keep going, right? So you can have the reverse. You can have 1 or 2 on that. You can have, pun intended, you're not having a 2. You can have A or B with that. So you can have like constipated, or you can have tap go on, tap go off. So it's 1 of 2, right? Digestion, sleep, 2 main ones. Like, if that's consistent with the client, I'm already like, especially if I meet them for the first time, and a lot of clients come to us with high blood pressure over a long period of time. Bad sleep or challenging sleep, although in bed for 10 hours a day, not really quality, is quite poor because of the wakes. Digestion is challenging. Generally overweight because some of what happens in terms of the, again, I'm going to get too techie and geeky. Essentially what happens is some of the hormones that get released block some others. So a stress hormone gets released as well. And what we want to do is we want to get fast energy into our bloodstream, right? So we want the sugars into our bloodstream so we can consume it and use it and run like the damn wind. No Sam Honey, no leg day for you. Pooja's like, all day I'm running. The challenges with that is that it can lead to issues in terms of blood sugar, and then over a period of time, some issues in terms of being overweight, and really, really long time. I mean, look, I'm not a GP, but there are some consequences in terms of blood sugars, etc. Now, also on top of that, if that's the physical side of it, from a mental point of view, put those things together. So you've got somebody who's not sleeping very well, that is feeling overweight, that is not switched off a lot of the time, even when awake, because they're constantly thinking about the next place to go. And what you get is someone who tends to use the word anxious or overwhelmed a lot, because actually what's happening is their body is in this position and they really don't know how to get out of it. And often clients will come to us in that state for so long that actually they accept it as part of their life. Of course it's not. Certainly wasn't. I've come at this. If you go through some of the lives, you go, God, Helen must have been a mess when she started. Yes, I was. You ask Sam, it will just straight out, yeah, she was a mess. She was a mess. I probably tick all those boxes, like, tick, 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 tick. Get them all down there. Done it all. Done it all. Now, the resolution to a lot of this, there's different ways of looking at it from a physical or an emotional point of view, because the symptoms for this are those two elements, right? So you can't necessarily look at one without the other. However, looking at both at the same time is also quite challenging. You know, if your clients with us as well like to do things in small increments, and a small habit can make a massive change. And all of these things can actually, when it's something as if I think you've got all those boxes like tick, 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 you got a lot to deal with. Now you got a lot to look at. It's always starting with the big two though, right? So if you're not losing weight and you're stressed, what do you want to do? You want to fix sleep is number one. A lot of clients will want the bells and whistles and everything else. We're like, hey, let's just start with sleep. If any of you have spoken to me as my clients over lockdown, sleep has been number one priority throughout most of these weeks and months. All the rest of it, I don't mind if you're on protein with every meal at this stage. If you're in this position, right, if you've experienced this state during lockdown, the number one thing I'm going to say to you is always take care of your sleep. Take care of your sleep like nothing else, right? Do what you need to get yourself into bed into a relaxed state, whatever it takes, right? If it's hot baths, right? If it's blacking out the world into the back cave, if it's using natural light, if it's ensuring there's no electrical devices, if it's ensuring that you have an alarm that's suitable, if it's you reduce water before bed so that even if you wake, you don't get out of bed to go for the imaginary pee that you don't really need, right? Because at least if you wake up and your bladder's empty, you're not going to trigger and go, I need to pee. There's nothing there. So you wake, go back to sleep, right? Less disruptive, okay? Number one, sleep. Sort out sleep. Sort out your morning routine as well after sleep. People don't look at that. Sort out your mornings. Make sure you have a nice calm way of getting out of bed. Organise your morning the night before so you're not getting out of bed going, shh, I've not done anything, right? A1, get your clothes out ready, get your desk organised. Whatever you're doing, do it the night before. So when you wake up in the morning, you'll have a nice and relaxed start, right? Build things into the morning that help you relax. Sleep, number one. Digestion. I'm probably going to go into this on itself, right? Because the digestive system is an emotion next week. I've got that one in play, right? So I can go over that next week. An important one, and there's things to do with that as well, because the emotional gut issue is one that we deal with as well. What else have we got? So, anxiety or mental stresses. Meditation is the number one. Or breathing, okay? Changing your, and I've got a live on this as well, changing your physical state by calming your breathing down is, if you've ever seen anybody in a panic attack, which I have, and quite a few times in my life, been with somebody in the middle of one, you'll appreciate that actually there's nothing you can do at that point to release their system down because it's so acute in that moment, other than help them breathe and do whatever you need to do to distract them from their thoughts into their breathing, so they focus on the breath and they focus in pulling in slowly, and actually it's the breath out, so slowly breathing out over 6 seconds. It's a 4-4-6 technique, right? So in for 4, hold for 4, out for 6, right? Getting someone to count, so you're asking yourself to count your breath, right? Immediately stops you from thinking about what's going on and puts your focus onto what's happening with your breath, and your focus in a point in time, right? Helps you calm down that system instantly. The thing is that we call it meditation, and we call it the bells and whistles, and I've talked about this before in a separate live. We call it bells and whistles and Zen, and I've meditated for 20 minutes while hovering with some incense stick and a chime. In the middle of what I've talked about in some of these systems, or even if it, and this is the thing, right? The cute one where I'm like sweaty palms, dilated, Sam's leg day. I mean, yes, you can do breathing. The thing is, we also don't do it when we're in that chronic state, when it's just that constant, low level, constant feeling of fear. What we don't recognise is the things we've got going underneath to do a breathing technique or to adopt meditation into our day is to actually start to reduce that on that lower level, so that A, we don't need to get up and pee in the middle of the night, and B, we don't have to be running around like a headless chicken, right? We can actually calm it all down at the same time. And Doctor's saying on race day for me is the breathing that helps a lot. It's true, the breathing technique, and it is the I found as well, and through using different techniques, it is the breath out that really does calm down your system. I've been doing I talked about it something, I haven't actually talked about it very much. So I've been doing heart rate training meditation, where you learn how to control your heart rate through breath. Fascinating. Do you know, 20 minutes a day over a week period to be able to, and you get a feedback as well, so you can hear a beat, a drum beat that signals through your headphones the beat of your heart rate, and it's fascinating to actually get the feedback as it's happening, to be able to actually experience what you read about and what you teach others as well. I know it works, to get that instant feedback and hear your heart rate and feel it slowing down in your chest, and also hear that feedback and know what you're doing, is brilliant. Like I shared with the team, I think the lowest I got to is about 55. And that's actually an interesting sensation, by the way. Very calming. Like, it's fascinating. So it's all done by breath. So you can control your heart rate and your blood pressure through breathing techniques. You know, a lot of us, we do, when we talk about blood pressure at the gym and the studio, for sure, if you've been one of our clients, we have a whole training system based on that, right? If you come through the door with imagine, right, because this happens, you've been having these chronic level symptoms for 30 years. So all those things, so on a low level that you're not quite recognising, that's built up over 30 years, your blood pressure is high, you have diabetes, you are overweight, you are constantly working 12-hour days to strive for happiness, well, there it goes again, in a car or a house or another promotion, right? So you're working all the hours that God sends, your sleep is really disrupted. Again, this is going on for 30 years. Right, so imagine what's happening to your system over 30 years if it's constantly like, leg day, run, for 30 years. That's a lot of peeing in the middle of the night. A lot. And the thing is, I'm not even saying something that's an extreme. It's quite common. For clients that join us at a certain point in life where a GP said, you're fucked. I mean, I'm sure they don't say it like that, in no uncertain terms. I mean, unless they're just writing, I've got a prescription for you. Essentially, though, I joke about it, they are. They come to us at that point where someone said to them, you've got so many months to sort your stuff out because there's nothing else I can do. Like, it's at that point. And that is the impact of decades of this response and why it's so important. Especially when we will always see it from weight loss perspective, is where we start with a client. We always know that losing weight will always help someone's overall health. It doesn't always overall calm down their sympathetic nervous system if it's always firing off, if we're not looking at the other elements to help put mechanisms in place. We know the client's coming to us with really saying, I need to lose weight because I'm ill. or my blood pressure is really high and my GP's told me I need to do something, so I need to lose weight, right? That is the fact. Underneath it all, though, as coaches, as knowing this, we know that this is all going on at the same time, right? In some level, with the majority of our clients that come to us in certain professions or certain points in life, it's there. It's just how much we as individuals recognise that it's happening and what to look for in our behaviours or how we respond to stuff that lets us know we need to put something in play. I talked about the happiness buffet the other day, and it's true, these things that we don't have, it's like not having playtime. You ask an adult how they play, they're like, I don't play, I'm an adult. It's like, play! Do the happiness buffet. Write down things that make you happy, that take you away outside of your daily life, away from the stressor, right? Where you can be distracted to some degree, yes, because the you know, it's important for overall health, because of all the things I've talked about, digestion, sleep, blood pressure, all of it, right? It's important to look at it, and it's part of what we do, right? That's why I said we have, for those clients that come to us, we have a whole program just to take care of that. And it's not by coincidence, it's because of our experience, and we've had to put that in place to help somebody. And yes, they've lost weight as a consequence, but actually the main focus is being able to deal with this system as a specific roadmap and saying, right, this is how we're going to do it, and this is how we're going to get you feeling better and enjoying life, right? That's the main thing. So I will probably do a separate live on rest and digest, because that's a good one as well. However, fight or flight, I likened it to walking into the gym and finding out you're the only person there and it's just you on Sam or leg day, and you try to argue you were meant to fill out the other day. Sam knows you're lying, so you're there like this. Fight or flight. I said no one fight Sam. Try and run. He will catch you. Or Balf will catch you on the way out and you're not going anywhere. Had that before. We got a runner. Get them back in. I said that, but it is that your body's dealing with a threat or a perceived threat, and on an acute basis, like that moment, woof, straight through the ceiling. Sweaty armpits, sweaty palms, heavy breathing, blood pressure up, heart rate up, adrenaline, noradrenaline's running through the roof. Takes a while to chill out. If you're going to straight into that session, about 3 hours. On average, though, if you have a really acute response, about 20 minutes to an hour, depending on how high it is. The challenge comes, we'll call it that. The challenge comes when somebody has a chronic response going on that has the same earmarks. It's going on for a very long period of time. And it's going on automatically without the knowledge, because that's what it's there for. It's there to react. And it's there to go flipping, run like the wind. So I went through the symptoms of dilation of pupils and breathing and flushed or pale skin and trembling. Didn't know that one. That I like to say shaking like a shitting dog, because I'm just so nice like that. However, that's also what I see when I see people go leg day with Sam on your own. If your leg's not shaking before, there will be afterwards, let's be fair. And the consequences of this, the lower version of this going on permanently within the body, permanently going on within the body, is for somebody to experience problems with sleep, digestion, some functions within the body start going a bit peaked on, to be fair. And I talked about how to look at it from different points of view. From a physical point of view, we have a whole training plan we deal with. We're looking at things like dealing with breathing to calm down your system, and also from a psychological point of view. Yes, meditation helps from a physical and psychological point of view, as well as operating on your happiness buffet. Find something in life you love, people. Just saying. And that's me. And you guys have a lovely evening. And as always, back again tomorrow at, I want to say 11. I want to say it. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. Hopefully, Joe, you'll get your notification. It's tomorrow at 11, Joe. So I'm telling you now. So if you turn up late tomorrow, when I've just told you when it is, you'll know you have to have a separate conversation. In the meantime, have a lovely evening, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Bye-bye.